Hi guys, I'm Olivia Ray alongside Brian Singer for the Herald Times. Brian is normally here with me in front of the camera, but on Saturday he was actually participating in an event we were covering. Brian was a Little 500 rider this year in the race and along with last year. Brian, can you give me a recap of this year's race and how your team did?
One word to describe it is fast. Being in two races, this year's race a lot faster than years past, including last year's. Our team, Sigma Alpha Mu, we finished 26th. A little lower than what we wanted. Wanted kind of in the low 20s. Unfortunately, you get in a wreck or two. You kind of learn from being a Little 5 rider, expect the unexpected, and that happened Saturday. But a great race. Describe it in one word, it was fast.
So you guys do not just participate in a race. Your teams practice all year round. They train all year round. What has your team done the past 2 years that's different?
So for Sammy, what we do is we take the whole 365 training, the whole regimen very seriously. It starts in the summer where we kind of add on the base miles, and we all, from East Coast to West Coast, and we have riders in between, we all ride domestically inside, just kind of join any clubs, organizations you can. Come back in the fall, we ride as a team together. We'll do some road rides in the cold, some rides on the rollers, stay for spring break, and then you just got to try to maintain that race shape, and then you kind of peak second semester, and that's when it really gets going. And you stay for spring break with most other teams. A handful of teams stay 2 a days. The whole training just becomes really real.
So Little 500 is a lot different than other sporting events. You're kind of isolated in your training. You're never really around a lot of fans, and then the climax, the big thing is the race, and you have 2,000 people screaming at you. What's going through your head when you're on that track then?
Oh, there's a lot, and I always try to, I mean, you mentioned it, when I'm training, I don't have those fans around me, but I always try to imagine, Brian, this is Little 5, this is Little 5, and I imagine as if the fans are around me during the training, but it's nothing the same. I mean, you can envision it day after day, but once you enter, you were there Saturday, we were obviously there covering it, and being a rider, those fans around you, I guess to describe what's going through your head is you try so hard to focus on one goal. And it's so easy to get distracted by it from all the fans and all the hype around it. So you just do your best to kind of remember the game plan, the strategy, the reason you're doing it. And if you do that as well as you can, the riders that tend to do that better and kind of extract the distractions and kind of focus on what's needed to, they tend to do better in the race.
Absolutely. And like you said, I was there Saturday, and I noticed a couple of things that I wasn't expecting. I kind of expect riders to just get on a bike and ride, but I noticed you guys talking a lot. I noticed when you're in packs and groups of bikes, there are words exchanged. I noticed some hand signals. Can you go over some things with that?
It's funny. You mentioned that you thought it was just bike riding. I did too when I started. I thought, hey, you just hop on a bike, you have a little fun. Sometimes you go faster, sometimes you go slower. It's actually, there's literally almost a science to it. So obviously when you're riding in pack, you're physically 2-3 inches away from the wheel in front of you, and that's unfortunately why wrecks happen sometimes. But people will be communicating throughout all 200 laps in the guys race or 100 in the girls race, and a lot of inside-outside talking versus if I want to ride inside, I'll yell it so someone can move it outside. If you're in the pack and you want to come out because you're trying to do an exchange, you'll yell coming out. There's a lot of signals. Each team kind of has their own signals. Our signal, tongue out. Visually, you put your tongue out as far as you can. That means we got 1 lap left, as if, I'm burning out. Get ready. We come in for the exchange. Every team has their own individual sets of signals, but then there are the universal signals that we all practice in training to cause as few wrecks as possible.
And you were not in a wreck this year, but we did see one of your teammates get in a wreck. What's going through your head? I'm sure you've experienced some as a rider, and what's going through your head as you watch a teammate get in a wreck?
It's obvious. It's sad to see. I guess the first feeling you get isn't as, I guess, maybe crazy as it may sound. The first feeling is you get up, make sure he's okay, but then right when you see he's or she in the girls' race is okay, get a new biker on the bike. So we had one guy wreck this year near our pit, so we were pretty fortunate. We had another guy. It took him a second or two. The hardest thing about a wreck is realizing that your team actually went down, because there's 33 teams out there and you're worried about drinking and spinning your legs on the side. So it took us a few seconds to realize our guy went down. It was pretty close to our pit. We sent a new guy sprinting there, got back up. It did cause us to lose a little bit of time, but expect the unexpected. That's kind of the name of the game with Little 500.
So along with all of these hand signals and and words and lingo that goes along with it. You also have some other things. I know you mentioned your shaven legs, recently shaven legs. And there are a lot of traditions that surround the riders. Can you go over those?
Yeah, some teams are certainly more superstitious than others. Most riders, if not all, shave their legs before the race. It's kind of just one of those things. If you do fall, it's easier to get those cinders out. A lot of teams do certain meals, certain timed meals before the race. Some teams stay in hotels the whole week. We stayed in one the night before. A lot of teams, it really depends on who you ask, are more superstitious. Some just try to treat it as normal of a week as possible. Others have a realization they'll never experience a week like this ever in their lives again, so they know it's abnormal, so they don't treat it normally like other weeks of the year. It really just depends who you ask. We as a team, we take care of our bodies and we shave our legs and do kind of those types of things. Not as superstitious as other teams, though.
So obviously, things we've gone over, Little 500 is not what a lot of people expect it to be. So what are some things that you could give, pieces of advice to people that are hoping to ride or riders for next year?
Enjoy it. This is a race, and a race I think is an understatement to really describe it. It's an event. It's also a culture of Bloomington that whether you finish first or 33rd, 99.9% of college kids will never do this, whether at IU or at any other college. So as much as you want to win, as much as you want to be the one on the podium at the end of the day, you're really, and this may be a cliche line that a second grade teacher may give, but really you're all winners out there. And I know that's such a recreational saying, but just hopping on the bike, whether it's the guys race or the girls race, whether you're first or 33rd, one, not every team qualifies, and even the team, not everyone can give up a year of training to do this event. So any advice for future riders out there, enjoy it, embrace the culture, the fans, the family, the whole community. It's a whole week of festivities all around a bike race, and as crazy as that may sound, all for a bike race, that's not all it is. It's Little 500, the greatest college weekend in America.
All right, well, thank you, Brian, for that inside look at the Little 500 race. And if you would like more information about the coverage from this year's race, you can check any of our Herald Times sites.